As holy seasons for Nigeria's two largest religious groups draw near to an end, aspiring As holy seasons for Nigeria's two largest religious groups draw near to an end, aspiring candidates have begun to turn their attention away from piety to politics. Yesterday, Sunday, saw members of the opposition storm Bauchi and Kano states. Governor of Oyo State made his first stop in Bauchi State, flanked by Senator Seriake Dixon, where he made the declaration that any politician working for FCT Minister Nyesom Wike is working for President Tinubu's re-election.
I was in a meeting with Wike and Mr. President, and he promised to hold PDP for Mr. President towards 2027. So, anyone dealing with Wike and his group, in any guise, what it means is you have also agreed to support President Tinubu for 2027.
Certainly a very busy Sunday of engagements, and it continued to Kano State, where the group was joined by Peter Obi for a courtesy visit to Senator Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso that ended in this rally where Obi shouted slogans to the Sea of Red in Hausa. I know a lot of people were quite amused and impressed to see him speaking Hausa, and the translation, I got one of the statements, he said it was Ina Matasa, which is Hausa for where are the masses, and they answered and they said, we are here, we are here. Rufai, should people be getting excited about this this ticket that potentially could have been in 2023, but egos didn't allow it to happen, and here we are and we're seeing it again. It's like Groundhog Day.
So I just hope and pray that a lot of the sea of red you see there, I just hope and pray they have jobs that they do for a living, because that's very important. In a country where unemployment numbers, we hardly get the details. They have changed the way they calculate unemployment numbers. The last time they said it's about 5%, but before they changed the parameter, it was over 30-something%. That's what I'm more concerned about. Secondly, as regards excitement, politicians will do alliances, but like I said this morning, it looks too late in the day for me as regards alliances, because now things are very difficult. Electoral laws have been able to clamp people. In a scenario where Obi doesn't emerge from ADC, the Obi at Alliance, Kwankwaso Alliance, might just be another mirage. And this will have been better 2023. So the question is, what was different then? Then they felt they could do it alone. They had interests. So they felt, I am the man. But now that life has dealt them the blow, then they are now trying to find a common reason. Anyway, they've not made any agreements. And even when they make agreements, you can also trust the agreement of a politician, because the word of a politician is very fickle. If a politician tells you, go to sleep, open your eyes wide open, because you can't take the word of a politician to bank. I mean, we live in a country where people promised all sorts. You were talking about the ministers. And you see the ministers that are going, that they are speculated to seek positions. The question we should ask is, take for instance the Minister of Power. What achievements can he say he made in the power sector that can be a bona fide for him to be able to go and aspire for the greatest job in all your states? I mean, look at ministers across board. So it's just like Green Day calls it, Nigeria has constantly lived on a boulevard of broken dreams. And what we keep doing is that we keep recalibrating the perpetrators of the broken dream. They keep coming back to us in one cycle or the other. And because we are already lacerated, eviscerated, masticated, emasculated as a population, we can only shout their names and hope against hope. But the people are not interested, and that's why they don't come out to vote.
You know, while you're on the point of hope, Ayo, I want to come to you. Let me take this quick story.
I was going to give a footnote to that.
Okay, sure.
To say that one, Minister Adelabu is not going to be judged in Oyo State on the basis of what he has done with the power ministry. That may not be part of the conversation. I don't think that the electorate will be as sophisticated as that. What is likely to happen?
Is that fair to say?
Yes, it's likely to be judged on the basis of how well he can mobilize the local base and the kind of support he gets, both at the federal level, if he's supported by his party, and also at the local level. So, you know, it's something that is in the air. The dynamics.
What you're saying is the sad reality, and it's true.
That it's not about your
the educated view.
It's about how well you can mobilize.
The educated view is
true.
Oh, this man has been minister in Abuja. How did he perform there? And to use that, you know, to determine his prospect at the local level. But, you know, I don't think it works out that way, particularly if he can mobilize very well. And then the second point about Kano, Sheyi Makinde going there, Mr. Peter Obi also going there. It's also about the optics, signaling. I think Kwankwaso, whatever alliance they form at the end of the day or do not form, has been able to show that he's still very influential within Nigerian politics and locally in Kano, where the governor that he installed, as they claim, you know, has already moved to the APC. Look at the crowd right there. They say that's in front of his house or wherever, you know. So it's also a way to say, I'm still in charge in Kano. Don't be surprised if in a few days' time, the APC also organizes and demobilizes crowds. But the more important thing is the strategic value of Kano in Nigerian politics. In any democratic election, you will need to win Kano or a substantial part of it to be confident that you will win the federal election eventually.
Oh, correct. Although it didn't play out that way in 2023, but...
No, if you get 25%, if you divide the votes and all that, if you win Kano, you win Lagos, you win Rivers, you'll be, you have substantial
it's significant. But as we're talking permutations, and I wanted to come to you on that. We're talking permutations, people strategizing, people choosing their alignments. Let's go to PDP, where we know that the numbers in the Senate dwindled from 37 to a mere 6, where Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan of Kogi Central has encouraged her counterparts who crossed the floor to APC to return to the PDP, as according to her, she has heard the loud whispers that the grass is not greener and that those who were promised automatic tickets are now finding that it may not happen.
Why are you leaving the party? They would mention the leadership crisis. So I'm saying this to my colleagues who have the count. Trust me, it's not greener in the other side. So you are all welcome back to the PDP. And I say this boldly to you because I have heard the loud whispers that many of them who were promised automatic tickets upon their campaign will no longer get this ticket. But if you all come back to the PDP, it won't be bad if we have the majority in 2027 elections.
She's so charming. Well, this took place at the inauguration of the PDP National Convention Committee by the Wike-backed faction of the PDP. So, Ayo, this is why I wanted to come to you, because on one hand, Sheyi Makinde is saying anybody working with Wike is working for the president, and we have Senator Natasha saying, come back to Wike's PDP. So, where does she stand in all of this?
This is politics. Anything can happen.
No, she didn't. But this was his faction.
This is a faction. She's aligning with Wike's faction.
Endorsed faction.
And she's also talking about their convention, which is Wike's backed factions convention. So she's in that party. I said it earlier that there is some merit to what Governor Sheyi Makinde said with regards to anyone aligning, because he himself has admitted that he was in a closed-door meeting with the president and FCT Minister Wike, when he said he was going to hold the PDP so that the president emerges as the party, candidate, at least at presidential level. And so I can understand where he's coming from. Now, Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan, what she's also said to has merit, because we've already been speaking about the implosion or potential implosion in the APC based on the number of interests in states. You already talked about some of them this morning for potential candidates. In Bauchi State, for instance, we have 2 APC strong members who are vying for the position. We've talked about states where the governors have defected, and we have, certain interest in that particular state. So she's absolutely right. But the truth is that many of these political figures don't have a lot of options, because if it's not the APC, where else? I hear her talking about the PDP. The PDP is currently in a state of higi-haga, if I can use that word. It's in a state of we don't understand where they're going, and it seems like the party or the faction that has their house together to a certain extent is working in the interest of the APC. So it's still PDAPC. So at the end of the day, what do you want them to do? What we have said is that where there's where their interests aligned, even when they don't get their ticket, they'll be compensated one way or the other, and perhaps that's what they are looking forward to. That they'd rather go with this party, even though it's not settled, but there will be some form of power, in that regard. It's just political calculations as to which would best favor their political interests. But she's right. I do think that the grass is not greener on the other side. It's just that these political figures don't have a lot of options. The ADC is still talking about, the convention, how that would play out. Now, there's now a faction within the ADC as well. Labour Party is nowhere. We haven't heard so much about them. So what are the options left for these political figures? Maybe it's time we bring back the conversation around independent candidates. Maybe we'll see more credible and willing candidates who don't have to align with a particular party or a godfather in order to emerge as candidates, and let Nigerians really have an opportunity to choose who best aligns with their future, but with regards to what's best for them.
That's right. Well, I think after all is said and done as well, where PDP is concerned, the final word would be, we just hope there will be someone to sign their nomination forms at the end of the day when it's time to submit to INEC, and that INEC will acknowledge that signature from the national secretary at the time, when the time comes. Well, let's shift our attention to another story.